the theory that I faked all of this and that I was never a teacher, that original video was staged.
But I don't know. I think that there's calculation there that you're not copping to.
But so when you say kiss ass for Trump, what do you mean? Can you give me an example?
Okay, look. So, dude, you put up a video 3 days ago.
Okay.
And the title is Trump outsmarted them all in a single move.
Right.
And Andrew Schultz saw it coming.
Do you disagree that he outsmarted Democrats in that example? So in that example, by acknowledging that, look, no matter what I do at the upfront of the speech, you're not going to stand up.
And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do.
And then they proved him right, and optically, that was very bad. Even there are many on the left that are openly acknowledging how bad this has been, and it's snowballing and increasing. So if you want your team to win, it seems like you should be able to acknowledge when there are bad plays and how to correct those plays. And if you're going to attack that person and say, well, you're just kissing ass for the other team, well, that team's never going to get much very solid criticism. They're not going to succeed. And I'm not even saying I'm for this team or the other, but that's the move that I saw, and I do stand by that. I think that was an accurate assessment.
Okay. Did you spend any time debating within yourself what was on their little paddles?
Those signs, it was almost symbolic of how this is what I think. I can fit it on a placard. This little bingo sign summarizes my thought process.
If Donald Trump could have scripted a reaction from Democrats to his speech, it would have been exactly what unfurled before our eyes last night.
I don't tend to put much stock in placards in general.
When I look at your videos that you've released lately, and I'd like you to comment on this if you can.
Exposed? Is it the word exposed?
We have the word exposed. Mm-hmm. Elite professors' racist theory explodes.
I think that was accurate, though.
Okay.
Good journalism should uncover corruption. I'm not a journalist, but I do think there's something deeply cathartic about uncovering truth.
For me, I'm like, okay, look, if that's what you're going to do, let's do that. That's cool. But it's not about critical thinking anymore. It's about exposing hidden...
How do you uncover truth?
Okay, hold on. I'm taking it back to you. You have a good point there. That the best way to uncover and find truth is to apply critical thinking methods to it.
That fits into the sponsor of today's video, Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that lets you compare perspectives on any topic with full transparency on the political bias, financial incentives, and credibility behind the headlines. Whatever the debate shaping our lives is, the narratives we hear can shape what we think before we've even had a chance to question it. Critical thinking is all about thinking for oneself to navigate the stories and the patterns that make up the world. We see the differences in these stories through the lens of the media. Follow your favorite topics or simply paste any article link in their search bar to find the full coverage on heated issues and swipe between perspectives to form your own opinion based on all the facts. Ground News was designed to give you back control over your thoughts. That's why they created their blind spot feed, one of the most important things to check before trying to have constructive dialogue with people who think differently than you. Go to ground.news/Smith or scan the QR code on the screen. Viewers get the top tier Vantage plan for just $5 a month. So it's a handy tool, how best to navigate those stories. That's where Ground News comes in.
I look at it.
What about the theory that I faked all of this and that I was never a teacher, that original video was staged?
Well, if you did fake it, it was the most brilliant, well-executed fake of all time. Look, this is where you get criticism and you should own some of it to it. You approach it like you're kowtowing to that audience that you know is going to press the button and is going to react to your clicks. I know how smart you are. I know that you can look at it and be like, this will get them. And this will get the people that follow me to click the button. So that's cool. As media makers, that's what we trained you to do.
The only gauge I have, I see what you mean, but the videos that do well are the ones that I'm most interested in, because I do feel like if you want to talk about like the audience, I think they are people like me that are interested in similar things. So that's the only gauge I have to go by. So yeah, I'm choosing, this goes back to that initial which game selection. I'm choosing the games where I'm like, that was an interesting move, so.
But I don't know. I think that there's calculation there that you're not copping to.
Oh, can you get specific or give me an example of pandering?
Well, I guess why don't we just talk about the Trump got them in one move thing, because it's recent, it's right up there. What were alternative titles to that? I know that you're smart. How many titles did you come up with?
I would argue that it would be the same video, that it got more than 1 million views in like 2 days. So I think that that was the best title to go with. You play with configurations and combinations of these words, and you're thinking about the algorithm and how it's going to make this most digestible to people. But it's still the video that they're engaging with. So you could say you could mix around those words to reflect. That's not changing the content of what's in the video. So if there's something problematic in the video, you can make that case. But if you're claiming that I should have combined the words differently.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you knew. You know, you're only critically thinking the stuff that politically fits with a very red, narrow audience. Or it's actually...
That's a fair... And this is how... There's a lot of people that really dislike me, and that's the reason. They think, yeah, I'm an ideologue and I get it all, but here's how I would explain what really interests me. This is the thread that connects it all, I think, is that there's the fabric of reality. So going to the boats floating on the surface, and then everything we're trying to communicate with the words, because we act out what we really think. That's where the data is, the patterns that are there to examine. So Trump, the game being played in that speech, that move being made, most of that is nonverbal, them not standing up. Do they walk out or not? So that's the data where you're going to find the game. That echoes beyond just that and goes to the postmodern professor, goes on Joe Rogan, and he's arguing that everything's a social construct. The fact that according to him, there is nothing, and I got into this with Destiny the other day.
So you learn that.
That's a social point, not a scientific point.
It's
been trying to articulate the difference between a social construct and a scientific fact.
God, I hate people that say that. Oh, kill me. That is a crime.
Why does that bother you so much? There's a big difference between a social construct and objective truth. That's a big deal, though. It's a significant difference between the two. Because many believe that everything's a social construct, and there is no fabric of reality to even strive for.
What my truth is? Well, I don't think I really have a truth. I think that there's just the truth, like the reality. And so we should...
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. A conservative claiming that there is an objective truth? Color me surprised, folks, okay? No, obviously that's not the case.
That's the whole point of thinking for yourself and critically thinking to uncover truth. It's like, because many would argue, postmodernists would argue, there's no such thing as objective truth. So if I say an objective fact, we have Neil deGrasse Tyson making the observation that a scientist can't point out an objective fact because of the story of it, and Destiny loses his mind over that.
But to pretend that, like, the scientific categories are so much more different than the social category, like, what? Why?
I'm glad you asked, Destiny. And nothing will improve someone's life more than recognizing that there's such a thing as the fabric of reality and living in accordance with those currents and laws, because you're going to be able to get where you're going. It's like a sailor sailing with the wind and the currents versus a boat that's like, there's no such thing as currents or winds. It's like, who's going to get there faster?
As you know, I respect what you do. I don't understand why. What I would like to see you do with your ability to critically analyze something is to not say, look at Joe Rogan dismantles woke college professor. I'd like to see you analyze the woke college professor directly. Like, I think that for me, in watching your work, knowing who you are as an artist, knowing who you are as a storyteller, I like it when I see you critically analyze somebody's statements to see whether it's true or not.
Okay, I can't necessarily tell whether it's true. I'm kind of showing where those moves are sometimes foolish, but I'm trying to understand your question here. That is what I'm doing. Even though he's having a conversation with Joe Rogan, I have to have something to analyze. Sometimes it'll be like the Marxist professor giving a lecture, in which case he just doesn't have someone on the other side of the table. But just because someone is on the other side of the table doesn't detract from my ability to be able to engage with the things that he is saying. And it's like having an A story and a B story in a movie. It also can, it's one of the things I do often that is more successful. And then you have the two converge at the end.